Hello and welcome to this lecture where we're going to be going over creating new patterns in the channel rack. We'll then show you how you can input some MIDI notes and start arranging your new patterns into the playlist window. So it's important to know how patterns and the channel rack work together in FL Studio to help us create our music. So at the moment we've created this very simple drum beats in the channel rack. Now if we go over to the pattern panel, you can see it says pattern 1. So at the moment this drum beats is pattern 1. I'm just going to rename this pattern by right clicking and going down to rename and color. And I'm just going to call this drum beat 1. I'm also going to give this pattern a color. To do this, click on the right hand side of the rename box and select a color from the color chart and then hit enter. Now we can see this pattern appear in the small display, which is called the pattern picker. If you can't see a pattern, make sure you have this small keyboard icon checked in the pattern picker. These other two icons display audio and automation clips. We don't have any of those yet, so let's go back to the keyboard to display our pattern. So what we're going to do in FL Studio is build up our song with patterns. So I'm just going to delete these two claps here by right clicking. And now I'm actually going to create a second pattern. So to do so, I'm just going to go up to the plus button in the pattern box in the toolbar. You can also add a new pattern by clicking on the plus box at the bottom of the pattern picker. And here this allows us to rename our new pattern. I'm also going to give it a slightly different color. You may have noticed that our kicks have actually disappeared from our channel rack. So what happens in FL Studio is every time we create a new pattern, it clears the channel rack so we can create a new pattern from scratch. So if I click on drum beat 1 back in the pattern picker, you can see that our previous pattern has appeared. So I'm just going to go to drum beat 2 and create a new pattern. This time I'm going to draw in the same kick rhythm. So to do this, I'm going to right click on where it says kick and then go down to where it says fill each 4 steps. And now I'd like to add a hi-hat pattern. And I want this pattern playing on the offbeat. So I'm going to draw this in now with the left click button. And now let's go to the play button to listen back to this new pattern. So as you can see, if I select pattern 1 now, it's different from the second pattern. Okay, let's now add another pattern. So let's go over to the plus button next to the pattern box. And this time I'm going to call this one bass. And let's choose a different color from the color chart. Okay, as this is a bass part, I'm going to use a software instrument, and I'm actually going to use the same one we created earlier. So the software instrument Flex. So right click on this instrument and go on piano roll. And in the piano roll, I'm just going to draw in a simple bass part. I just drew that in by having the draw tool selected and left clicking where I wanted to insert the MIDI notes. Again, we're going to look at the piano roll in more detail in a later lecture. I just wanted to show you the different patterns you can create in the channel rack. Now I'm just going to play back this new bass pattern. Okay, so now we're actually building up a few different patterns that we can start to arrange in our playlist. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the pattern we'd like to work with and then input this into our playlist area. At the moment we have our paint tool selected, and this allows us to just click and drag in different patterns. So right now we're just going to drag in a 4-bar pattern. So as you can see there, on track 1, we have 4 bars of drum beat 1. And now I'm just going to select the bass part in the pattern picker And this time we're going to do the same and paint in a pattern, but this pattern is actually 4 bars long already. Okay, now I'm actually going to select all of these bass notes that we have in our piano roll. So I'm going to click on the piano roll window and then press Command A on Mac or Control A on Windows to select all. And with the pencil tool, I'm just going to hover over the right hand side of the MIDI note and stretch these notes out so they're all 1 bar long each. Now I'm going to change this to song mode up here in the transport area and play this back. Okay, now you can see we've started to arrange our patterns together in the playlist window of FL Studio. Okay, so in the next lecture, I'm going to show you in detail how we arrange our patterns we've created in the channel rack in the playlist window. So just to give you a quick recap of this video, we've created 2 new patterns. So now we have drum beat 1, drum beat 2, and our bass part. And then we started arranging drum beat 1 and the bass into the playlist window. I've also showed you how to quickly draw in MIDI notes and how to resize and edit them, which we'll go over again in more detail in later lectures. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.